Hi, I'm ERMANNO Battista, and today I'll talk to you about our experience in achieving a deep integration between MAPP.js and Angular. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the NGRome team, for this opportunity and for being so great to work with. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a software engineer and co-founder of ERMANNO, a talented team crafting cutting-edge technologies to build tailored solutions for businesses. In one of our innovation projects, we had to represent a lot of information efficiently on map, so we started scouting technologies and evaluated Apple Maps. For who doesn't know, it is possible to integrate Apple Maps not just in iOS applications, but also in JS. What was interesting for us was the high free quota, because of course the client is interested in cost saving, the possibility to easily do pin grouping, collapsing and choosing the priority of pins who needs to pop up when you zoom in and zoom out, and also the capability to handle overlays, drawing shapes in GeoJSON to create regions and feature-rich maps. So you can go online on the official documentation, you will find the link in the slides, and start your integration. Basically, you will just link the JSON library and provide a token. The token is a JWT token, and you can create it online and just serve it in your environment, yes. But with this approach, you will have to redistribute your app every time it expires, so it's not viable. What you will actually do is serve it in a backend. So you can generate the token in server side by using a private key, which is issued to your Apple developer account. And as you can see in this example, you can actually cache it locally and just ask it to the backend when it expires, and then enhance the interaction between the front end and back end. As soon as you would like to create something more interactive, you will feel the urge for type checking, and this can be relieved by installing a type definition. There are a few of them. I'll suggest the one that's linked here, and so you basically install it and then add it in the sconfig JSON, and you will enable the TypeScript compiler to find and use this typing. Now let's see what you can do and how you can create pins on the map. So pins are basically handled by the library itself. They can be images, icons, and text. But what's interesting is interaction when you want to actually create the callouts, when you click on the pin and you want to see a content. So as you can see in this documentation, it's an extract from the documentation, you will have to create the HTML for the callout by hand, and creating it like it was jQuery style, right? So you can start adding content through adding nodes by JavaScript, and this is not something we like, right? So you can actually improve this interaction because you can inject ng components by using the component factory from Angular core. So as you can see in this example, you use the component factory, you resolve the component, and you need to pay just a little bit of attention to adding and binding yourself, so manually, the inputs to this component, and to start the text changes, because now it needs to be handled manually. And after that, as you can see, you can create the element which will wrap your component and just append to this component the content of the component itself. The only thing you need to be aware is that you should fire your own change detections when something inside the component changes. Apart from this, that can be a really just a normal component, as you will do with any kind of component. But now suppose that you need to fire events from the map and handle them in Angular. Of course, if this event is from the component we generated for the previous example, it's not necessary to resort to any hack. Otherwise, as sometimes you have to do, you want to react some plain HTML link clicks or other kind of vanilla interactions, you need to find a different way. And there is an approach that exists, so you can see you can achieve a bidirectional communication between a service and by resorting to handles on the window. I will show you how. So you have an actor, so the Angular service, which will register two methods on window. One is used to fire the Angular events, and one to subscribe to Angular events, so to receive events. The component will just use this service as a usual service, and so it will subscribe to it. And when the user interacts, the user interaction will actually invoke a method to fire Angular event on Windows, and this will be translated to a callback that will be executed inside zone run, and this will then be a subscription that is actually executed inside the component. So this approach, I've seen it a few times ago, as you can see in this link, and so I just reworked it a little bit and handled the unsubscription from that. So the important thing is that the code have to run inside that zone, and you need to pay attention to subscriptions. So the usage from outside Angular is pretty easy. You just pass the event name and the arguments for the callback. And on the other hand, when you need to use it in Angular, you will do the same, but on the opposite. So you work on the service and not on the window. So as you can see, you just create a service and you just register the methods in the constructor. So one for firing and one for subscribing to events. And in the subscription, you will just have to inject a callback inside the dictionary. So the event is bound to callbacks by using subscriptions, and then you just return a reference for future unsubscriptions. When you fire event, you will just find the subscription and call the callback. So just pay attention. In the first method, you work inside zone run. When you use it inside a Angular component, you will just call the subscribe method through the service you inject within the constructor. Usually, HTML will be injected directly in DOM and the logic implemented in JS. I've shown you a way that actually improves the interaction with Apple Maps, and I've shown you how to supercharge the iframe integration. We have used the full-fledged NG components as pinned on the app, and we have seen also how to fire events from vanilla to Apple Maps. If you have any question, reach out to me later, connect on Twitter, use Slido. I'm really eager to connect with you and to answer your question. So thank you for your attention, and thank you for the opportunity again to NGRome team. Goodbye.